Hey guys, AllSports83 sporting another video at you, and today I want to start kind of a new journey. This video is the first in a series that I will use to address the next generation of NASCAR gaming. Now, as gamers eagerly anticipate the arrival of next-gen consoles like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, these platforms serve as hope for NASCAR gaming fans to finally get the racing game they can enjoy and be proud of. Now, I've done a few videos in the past that include some wish lists and suggestions for improving NASCAR games, but they all have been child's play compared to the expectations I have for games to be released on the most technologically advanced consoles to date. 704 Games, according to their own admission, may still be a smaller company, but the playground is so much bigger moving into the next era of gaming. So it's time for the developer to cash in on all the patience and loyalty afforded to them by NASCAR gaming fans. After bringing NASCAR games back to consoles in 2016, basically the honeymoon is over. Not only will these games, the next version of these games, need to provide all the things gamers have been asking for, but they also need to introduce things that have never been seen before in NASCAR games. Otherwise, I seriously question the longevity of 704 Games and NASCAR video games in general. In these series of videos, I aim to somewhat comprehensively address all the areas of these games, detailing what I truly believe will save NASCAR gaming and provide a legitimate experience for the NASCAR gaming community for years to come, I hope. I'll also be submitting these videos to 704 Games, and I will keep you updated on any reply that I get back from the company. Now, as for today's video, I want to begin by covering what 704 Games should tackle first, and that's fixing all of the problems that currently exist in NASCAR Heat 4 and every game before it. Now, these problems range in a few different categories, so I want to address them one at a time. Now, let's start with career mode. Now, I will probably do an entire video on what career mode should look like and how it should be enhanced, but right now I just want to focus on the problems that we currently see in career mode with current games. So currently there are 4 different series you can take part in your career mode. Obviously the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series should remain as a part of the ladder you climb on your way to the NASCAR's top Cup Series, but there has been some debate about the entry-level Dirt Series found in NASCAR Heat 3 and 4. Some have suggested that it should be replaced with a series like maybe the ARCA series, given that it's so similar in stock car racing, and the fact that it's a real series, where the Extreme Dirt series is really a fiction created for the NASCAR Heat franchise. Others wish to keep the Dirt Series or substitute some real-life Dirt Series because dirt racing offers a more diverse racing experience for career mode. As for me, I'm really fine either way. In reality, most gamers will spend most of their career mode experience at the upper level series. So really my suggestion to 704 Games is to listen to the gaming community and go with the most popular option. Maybe they could post a survey and just go with the majority responses. Whatever they do, the big key is that they get the execution correct on all of these series. The physics and the graphics need to look spot on. Now obviously we'll talk a little bit more about physics and aesthetics and other areas of the game, but 704 Games needs to avoid cutting corners in these entry-level series. Each series included in NASCAR games should be treated as though it's the only series. Leave no stone unturned, as they say. Now please understand that I speak about racing physics kind of vaguely because I've never been in a real race car, but I'm sure the folks at 704 Games can get consultants for every series so they all feel like the real thing. Also, don't cut and paste the rules from the Cup Series into the entry-level series. If you go the Dirt Series of some kind, there should be heat races with eliminations or whatever small town dirt racing rules look like, from qualifying to the checkered flag. If ARCA is included, then all ARCA competition rules should apply. Now I may say this a lot, but the point of all this is realism. Next, I want to talk about character development, and this starts with the customization of your driver. So far, creating your career mode driver has been only a scratch on the surface of what even the current consoles are capable of. This has just got to change. While it's not always fair to compare these games with what other developers are doing, it is fair to say that the NASCAR Heat franchise has spent minimal time on a driver likeness and driver creation in career mode. You only need to look at other sports games like MLB The Show, the NBA 2K series, or even some of the older EA golf games from the mid-2000s and beyond to see the possibilities in creating realistic characters. One thing I may be caught repeating in this series of videos is that 704 Games should feel nothing but shame if the quality of their games on the next-gen console is comparable to video games from 10 or 20 years ago. In other words, if the 6th edition of NASCAR Heat game falls short to NASCAR Thunder 2004, 704 Games will be in big trouble. So our minds should be blown away when we see the features of these new games, and it starts with driver customization. Part of the draw from these other sports games that I just mentioned is that when a gamer creates his or herself in the game, they want that character to look like him or herself. In comparison, right now, NASCAR Heat, they struggle to even get the real drivers in the game to have a real likeness, much less the driver creation in career mode. But now is the opportunity to get it right. Okay, moving on. Another part of the current career mode that needs a fix, sort of, is the process for working your way to the top. More specifically, I'm talking about the hot seat program. Now, don't get me wrong, the hot seat concept isn't terrible, but it's also not totally realistic, and it's going to be very important for these new games to get every element of these games right, meaning they all need to be realistic. So naturally, if you take a good look at how most drivers earn a career in NASCAR, it's usually through some driver development program. Instead of getting a one-race offer from random teams that span all manufacturers and owners, career mode should start with the option of which manufacturer the player wants to drive, and that determines the initial path of career mode. Instead of one race, you're offered a 7-race contract or something like that to show your skills in the same car. Your performance determines future offers with better and better teams within the same manufacturer, and maybe even with the same owner like Hendrick Motorsports or Stewart-Haas Racing. Doing well in limited contracts will obviously earn full-time contracts in the following season, with the exception of the Cup Series. Now here's what I mean by that. There are really never any limited contracts in the Cup Series. Those opportunities really just don't exist. So basically a very successful Xfinity season would earn you a shot at a full-time ride right off the bat within the organization in the Cup Series. Now, a couple of key thoughts to keep in mind as we think about this is that there are great organizations in one series that don't have teams in other series. But it is completely plausible that if you're driving a Chevrolet in the Truck Series, you could get an offer to drive for Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity Series, which then could lead to a Hendrick Motorsports ride in the Cup Series. All these teams are under the same banner of Chevrolet. The other key thought is that once you've established some prestige in a certain series, like Xfinity, you could be a hot commodity within that series, creating new opportunities outside of the current career path within your development program. Maybe after a couple of wins, you get offers from other teams of different manufacturers within the specific series. This offers some variety in career mode. A player can choose to stay on the path of the original manufacturer and the original program, or jump ship and join an entirely new team with that series, and thus opening a new path forward. The point to this, again, is to replicate as much realism as possible in order to experience the life of a NASCAR driver within the game. Other aspects of this will be pointed out in future videos, but I hope this gives you an idea of how career mode can take a massive step forward from just this one angle alone. Okay, next I want to talk about pit stops. Now this will be brief and somewhat vague, mainly because I have an entire video just for pit stops, but I'll hit the highlights here for a moment. The main concern is that I don't want to watch a video of pit stops. That's like telling someone playing a Madden game that they can only watch the running plays rather than take control of the running back. NASCAR is a multi-dimensional sport, and so the game shouldn't be narrowed down to the one-dimensional aspect of just the racing and everything else just looks pretty. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I want to participate in the pit stop in some way and take part in the risk-reward execution of one of the most important aspects of any NASCAR event. Also, the track bar should be an in-race adjustment, and I'm not really sure why the current games don't have that available to the player. But anyway, there will be a whole lot more discussion about the pit stops in a coming video. Lastly, I want to point out some of the horrible glitch issues with some of the tracks. Coming off of Turn 4 at Texas Motor Speedway, the Carousel at Infineon, exiting either corner at Martinsville, Turn 2 at Darlington. These strange glitches really just have to stop. It's weird to even have to request such a thing, but I really hope 704 Games can really take the time to troubleshoot these things in the future and get them right before launch. Okay, so that's about all I have time for in this video, but I'm sure there are some areas of the game that you would like to see improved or outright fixed that I didn't touch on. Don't worry. There's a good chance that I'll hit on it in future videos. Some of the things that I want to look a little deeper in the series of videos include more career mode discussion, damage model and repair, custom schedules, paint booth, pit stops, online and offline stats, and I'm sure a lot more. Now, I know in this video and probably in other videos, it's going to look like I'm being really hard on 704 Games, and I want to take just a minute here just to say that I really appreciate this developer. I think these guys, their hearts are in the right place. They want to provide a good game. They're kind of a young company, and they're trying to figure it out. And I really applaud a lot of the efforts that they've made. They've had some really good ideas along the way. And you know, anytime you're doing something as difficult as developing a game, there are going to be bumps in the road. So even though it sounds like I'm being really hard, I'm really just trying to point out all of the little details that are going to make these games amazing. So it may sound a little harsh, but you know, we got this next gen console coming, and I think that it's really going to be a great opportunity for 704 Games to turn a lot of these things around. They've got this huge playing field, as it were, to improve these games and make them a lot better. So I hope that it's seen in the right light from these folks as I send them these videos. Hopefully they'll get a chance to take a look at them and hopefully interpret them in the best way, because you know, I don't want to be too harsh or be too critical. It's just that I want to make sure that these things are pointed out. A lot of people in the gaming community are wanting to point these things out as well. But again, if you have anything in the comments that you want to share, you know, if you'd like to join the discussion, you know, feel free to let me know what you think in the comments section below. I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 of this series, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.